Hello and welcome to Creatacast with your host, David Welch. If you hear music in the background, it's because I'm at my wife's soccer game, and currently there is a lot of music going down. So, anyways, moving along with the show. So, here's what we need for Creatacast to grow. One, we just need more action. We need way more action going on. And here's what I mean. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to commit to 2 shows a week. So I'm going to do a Monday show and I'm going to do a Friday show, just so we can build impetus. And what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try and finagle it this way. Any submissions that I get to dwelch9627@gmail.com, I'm going to read your work live on air. That way we can get a good reading of it. Or if you want to send me a link or a post where you do your reading, I will ensure that it makes the show. So please, please, please submit your 10 pages of fiction, a few poems, no more than 10 pages though. Creative nonfiction I'm accepting a lot of platforms of work right now, just to get your hashtag writing community work out there. So you don't have to send me your work in progress, but if you have flash fiction laying around, or you have a poem, or if you're working on themes or a type of poetry right now, hit me up. Send me your stuff. That way we can get it out there. Okay? So those in the writing community have a current work in project. Sometimes we have so many projects going on at the same time, we kind of lose track of what our point is. And our point is to get our work out there for readers to read. I'm a reader. I read every night, and I'm trying to ensure that everyone gets a chance to read my work. I have my books out there, I have my play, and I'm looking to get more things out there. So the next the next 3 weeks is going to be huge. I'm releasing 2 books in the next 3 weeks. Come hell or high water, it's going to get done. So the first book is going to be my poetry book. It's going to be about 30 pages, and it's called My Streaming Life, or Our Streaming Lives. I'm still playing with the title of that, but it's all about streaming Netflix and Hulu and different shows that I do poetry for. So look forward to that. I'm also getting my book linked out there in the next 3.5 weeks. So look for it on March 1st through the 3rd. It's going to be out there, and I'm really pushing to make sure that happens. So a little tidbit about this, the story. It's about a kid named Dan. He lives in Jerome, Idaho. For those who don't know where Idaho is, it's up in the upper left-hand quadrant of the United States. And it's the one that looks like a very fat, or it looks like a house with a chimney is what it looks like, really. So anyways, that book is coming out very soon, and it delves into the realm of science fiction. So it's very science fiction oriented, but it is a YA novel. So look for that. That's going to be out very soon. For those who are not following me on Facebook, my name on Facebook, again, look up David Welch. That way we can connect. I love my writing community. If you're not hitting me up on Twitter, it's at dwelch9627. That is my Twitter handle. So please find me on Twitter. If you are on Twitter and you're listening right now, please, please, please share this with the writing community. For those who don't know, this show is prominent in discussing different writing tropes, different ideas with the writing community right now, and I do read poetry, fiction, and other works from you live on air. Now, I don't care if you're published or not published. Whatever work submitted to me, I go through a selection process, and I ensure that I let you know that it gets out there. And all I ask for you to do is send me an email, and in the subject heading, put in Creatacast submission. In the body, just put in a little blurb about yourself, and then that way I can give a little blurb about you before I read your poem or your fiction piece or whatever on air, okay? And then if it's published, great. If it's not published, even better. I want to get the raw material out there. I was able to really get a new poem out there last week by Anthony Ocampo, and it's been wonderful for him. It's been a great experience to have, your work represented in some sort of forum or medium. So please submit to Welch. So that's DWELCH 9627 at gmail.com. So moving forward, I want to go ahead and talk about something else I'm deeply involved in. I'm really involved in a charity campaign that Creatacast is going to be attached to for the next, forever. Because I love this charity so much. Okay. So the charity that I'm really working to get out there is called, let's see. Wow, my brain just totally farted on me. That's what happens when it's called Easter Seals. So it's called Easter Seals, and it's the charity that I'm working hard to fundraise for is in Nevada. Okay, so I fly in and out of Nevada all the time in order to go to this leadership and development course that I'm in right now. But when I fly in there, we really spend a lot of quality time talking about how ways we can help our community, and Easter Seals is the way to go. I have a link in my Facebook for those who find me on Facebook, and I have shared it on Twitter as well. Please donate. So find my link, donate. All right, we're trying to get to $108,000. That's a big benchmark for the next couple days. So I need your help, writing community, to make it happen. Now, there are other things you can donate. It's not just money; it's also materials, and there's information that of what you can and cannot donate. And then there are forms online for those who want to utilize this as a tax write-off. So I will get those out there, and please email me if you have any questions. Now, I love the writing community. You love the writing community. So let's move us forward. I really want to move us forward in a positive direction. And people who have influenced me, even just on Twitter, like Leah, I can't really think of. Once I get all these Twitter handles in line, because I'm at the soccer game right now, if I were looking at my computer, I'd be able to go through all the Twitter handles and name who are my big influencers. But just know that if you're listening on Twitter right now, you are an influencer. You are influencing somebody right now to do something. Whether it's your journey in writing, whether it's your journey in sharing writing, whatever the platform may be, please continue your work. Get out there. And if you need a medium to help get your work further out there, let me be that medium. Hit up Creatacast, hit up me, your host, David Welch, and we will make it happen. Okay? So, going back to the writing community, I really want to get poetry, not poetry soup, but I really want to get realistic poetry out there as well. Realistic poetry is a wonderful platform. I found them on Twitter and have since become a member. So Realistic Poetry is a great platform as well. They have contests all the time for poets. They have on Twitter, they have the ability to do a poem right there as a tweet. And it's an amazing process. So if you are not a member, if you are not liked and subscribed to them in any sort of way, you need to get on Realistic Poetry. They are a huge organization. They have international organizations, so get out there. They do take international submissions. So if you are listening to this podcast and you're somewhere in the world, overseas, and your language skills aren't the best in English, we still take international submissions. So does this Creatacast. So we will take your submission, and if you want this to be a plausibility for you, to have it read, please send me a link of you reading your work, and I will ensure that it gets on there. Okay, so, or my Latin community, if you are a strong Latin writer. I will find someone who I know speaks Spanish fluently to read your work and ensure that it gets read in a proper format and the way you intended. Because my Spanish is horrible. My German is a little bit better. So if you send me something in German, ich lese Deutsch. So that platform is perfectly fine for me, or that format, auf Deutsch. So other than that, like, I really appreciate everything about the writing community right now. I am enthralled to be working on my projects, and I still do short stories. So don't get me wrong. Don't think that just because I have these big oh shit goals here in the next 3.5 weeks doesn't mean I'm holding back on the short term. I make short-term gains in writing by reading and writing my short fiction and writing poetry. It's part of the creative process. It allows me to work out problems I may be having in my fiction writing. So I don't believe in writer's block. I just think it's a lack of determination and a lack of focus, which we unfortunately have in the writing community. A lot of us probably have a half gazillion projects that we've started that we have not finished. And that's because we haven't gone back into it, reminded ourselves of how we felt going into it. So let's talk about poetry. Poetry is, for me, it's a feeling. It's where my heart is at the time. Not just my head. My head helps. But it's where my heart is at. When I'm writing my fiction, it's a combination of the two. It is a hard combination and an alignment between my head and heart. Because my heart says, be creative, write the story, and my head says, focus, damn you, get this shit done. So that's where my head is at when I'm writing my flash fiction and my longer fiction pieces. So determination is key. It's all about what you do. So my writer's block at home is literally a block. I mean, you can do it as an actual brick, or you can make it out of cardboard or even paper if you want to. But it's in the shape of a block, and on each side of the block, I write a writing strategy. So here are some of the writing strategies: listing, free writing, cubing, or bubbling, whatever you used to call it. Okay, those are some writing strategies, something that you can get down. And on the other parts, I write down reading strategies, because sometimes reading something else may get you realigned with how to work what you're doing. So another strategy is PowerPointing or storyboarding, right? So on one side of my block is storyboarding. So every time I look at my block and I roll it around a little bit, I can see opportunities where I can improve upon my current mood about my current whip. Okay? So you're stuck. You're like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to move forward. Or, hey, I don't know how to connect the dots. I know where I want to end. I know where I started. How do I get there? And it's all about those writing strategies. It's all about how you storyboard. For me, it's PowerPoint. I use pictures and visual representations and bullet points in PowerPoint to point me in the direction I want to go with my story. And that's what I've been able to do, and that's what works for me. Another thing you could do is a walk. Sometimes walking out in nature, listening to Creatacast, or just doing a walk is going to help you get to where you need to be mentally, physically, and don't be stagnant. You have to be physical. Writing is a sedentary sport, but it doesn't have to be. So writing for me is a sedentary sport, but every 15 minutes I schedule it. Bang, bang, boom. I'm up and going. Like, I get my blood flow, then I come back. Even if I'm in a writing groove that lasts no longer than 25, 30 minutes, then I get up and then I've got to do something else. You gotta keep it fresh. You gotta keep that air going. Otherwise you're going to exhaust yourself and you're not going to do right. Go change the laundry. Go do that little chore that you put off for a little bit, and then come back. Be ready to write. Be ready to say, you know what, fuck this. I'm going to do another 25 minutes solid. That's what? 2,000-3,000 words? Easy. Come on. It's too easy. Just get after it. And sometimes you may have to get yourself in that mode where you free write up to a certain point and then go back in and rework what you might have missed. So a lot of things that we might miss are smaller details that we introduce to the reader early on. Like, your character has a certain hair color, your character has a limp, your character has something that you're not bringing up again. So this is the opportunity for you to go back, understand what is missing, and put it in there as part of your details. And that may change the landscape of your story, and it will morph your story into something more whole, more complete, and people will be able to visualize it when they read it. So another thing I really enjoy doing too as part of my writing process is I love research. Now, we can consume ourselves with total research. Like, we can have a day where we do nothing but research. But I would caution you to not overdo it. I need you to focus here when it comes to the research. Commit to a time frame. Say, okay, I'm going to research for 30 minutes. I'm going to set my alarm on my phone. I'm going to research for 30 minutes. When my alarm goes off, I'm done researching. I get up, come back, and then based on what I've already researched, I add that to the story. If it's not enough, then give yourself another 15 to 20 minute session of research to complete whatever it is you're looking up to add to your story. Now, if it's complex research, do it in waves, 15-minute waves. So however many waves it's going to take, you think, to research the information you need to know to add to your story in completion, and make sure it aligns up with reality, or if you're stretching reality, make sure it goes into that realm in a more logical and understanding way for us to consume it, okay? So writing is all about the reading. It's all about getting those stories, those creations of yours, those worlds you're building into the hands of readers. And we run into roadblocks. There are readers everywhere. There are readers literally everywhere. People read. I mean, if you've ever been to an airport in the last 365 days, you know readers are everywhere. People are consummate readers. Either if it's on Kindle or if they're having a solid book in their hands, they are reading. So here's what my recommendation is to you. Get your stories and carry at least a minimum of 5 to 10 books in your vehicle, 5 to 10 books in a backpack that you're carrying, or a satchel or something. I mean, now, if these are weighty, huge books, then you may not want to do that. But at least carry 1 or 2. That way, while you're out there, you can get your book out there. You can say, well, here's a copy of my book. I carry it just in case somebody's a reader, and get it out there. Here's what I did. I ordered food for about a few weeks, and then along with the tip, I gave somebody a copy of my book and said, hey, please share my book. Please give me a review on Amazon. And that works. Believe me, it works. Especially if somebody is a hardcore reader and they read everywhere they go pretty much, then yes, you're going to benefit them. And you don't know whose world you're going to open up to literature and reading by doing so. Even if it's a poetry book, even if it's just a 30-page poetry book, you can add it and say, hey, here's $5 or $6 tip. On top of this, please, read my book. If you're not a poetry person, give it to somebody in your life that is. Please share my book. That way, I mean, that's not desperation. That's just getting your book into the hands of readers. You're saying, oh, Dave, well, that's going to be kind of costly. I want to make money. Okay, well, if you want to make money, that's fantastic. And this is a way you can do it. By getting it's going to be word of mouth, because somebody's going to buy your book, somebody's going to share your book, and then somebody's going to look for whatever else you have out there. And then, or they're going to say, you know what, hey, let me look on Amazon, let me get you a copy of this book. So word of mouth is going to get you out there. Okay? Holding book signings. All you need to do for most cases is just go get permission of whatever business you want to do a book signing in. Get 100 of your books or more. If they give you an hour, if they give you 2 hours, whatever your block of time is, do a little presentation on your book, or books plural, or whatever they're about, and then discuss it with those readers, and then there you go. You've got your sale. Okay? And a lot of the heavy lifting authors have to do is going to be by themselves. They're going to be promoting their own book. Okay? I don't care if you're a famous fucking author. You still promote your own book in a way. Okay? So here's what you got to do to get your book out there. Now, there are many platforms of publication. There's Kindle Direct Publishing. There are the other publishers out there that will publish your book, or it's more of a self-publication where they advertise your book for you, and they have different pay packages. That is all well and good, but those are for more of the writers that are already set in stone. And I had to learn this the hard way. Believe me, I am no ace. I had to learn the hard way. But one of the more rewarding methods of being published is querying for an agent. Get an agent and then who believes in your work, who believes in your book, and getting it out there. And you might want to have a few manuscripts to give them. This is just being fair. This is just being fair to the different publishers. So if I'm waiting until I have all 3 of my books finished to hand them the series. And I'm not going to just hand them the whole series, of course not. I'll publish it piecemeal. But the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to finish all 3 books. And then when I query for an agent, that's the way I'm going to go. That way they have options. That way they say, you know what, hey, maybe this is going to be book 1, and then this will get it started. Maybe one is well more received than the other one, and then the one you're trying to get out there is like, oh, okay, well, this is fantastic. This is kind of a good sequel, or this is kind of, a good book to follow up with. But the other book may have more gravity with the agent, may have more gravity with the publisher, and that's okay too. If you have several standalone books, that's fine too. If you have a series in mind, that's where you go. Not everybody goes into the writing game with the whole series in mind. But if you do, or if you do have a standalone book that really works, or even if it's a fan fiction piece right now, that doesn't mean it always has to be. If you have a really solid fan fiction piece and you want it to be a reality, reach out for the licensing, get the permission for those characters, and make it part of canon. What do you think happens with the Star Wars books and the Predator books and all that? It's all about getting permission to enter that world. If you have a good enough learning and a good enough dialogue to enter that universe, then you can do it. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but you can say, hey man, this started off as a fan fiction piece, and I wrote like 129,000 words. It's a huge sci-fi epic, but it makes total sense within the continuity of the timeline. Then do it. Get it out there. Okay? And there are other mediums. We have WordPress. I'm a WordPress person. I love WordPress. I have other mechanisms, a lot of people have like Wattpad, and a lot of people have different writing tools. And we're going to talk about that next show, about all of the tools available to you as a writer. Now, there are tools out there that you can use to promote your book as well. Facebook has a platform. YouTube is a great way to get your book going. Create a little commercial for your book. That was very popular for the book by Connie Golden and his brother, Dangerous Book for Boys. They created a little commercial about it, and that was hugely popular because that was like one of the first ones out there that had a whole commercial for that book, and that got me to buy the book. That got me to hunt it down and say, okay, well, this is a great book, and it was, but I already trusted the author, and I already trusted what they're giving me in there with the material based on what they did in the little commercial. So doing a little commercial for your book is going to be amazing. It's going to help you get so far. Okay, so let's keep on the attack, people. Let's keep on the momentum, and look for my show tomorrow. My show tomorrow is going to be epic. Okay, it's going to be great. I'm going to do a lot of reading stuff on there. I'm going to dig into some of my old poetry. I'm even going to get into some more of my reflective essays because I just want that out there. I want that material out there, and you should too. So hit me up, dwelch9627@gmail.com. Remember, Creatacast, submission in the subject line, a little blurb about you and your work. Okay, you can post it in the body of there, that's fine, and I'll read it like that, or you can post an audio clip. I'll listen to it and definitely add it to the show. So please get it to me. Now, if anyone has any book recommendations, because I do a lot of reading, please hit me up on Twitter, and I will do my best to get your book. Okay, I buy about 25 books at a pop. So when I do buy books, it's usually Kindle because I travel so much. I'm reading on my Kindle constantly. So expect that platform to be bought. If you don't have a Kindle version of your book, I recommend looking into it. That way you can reach more readers. Okay? So this is David Welch, Creatacast, and I'm signing out. Remember, I do apologize. I'm going to end the show on a good note. Easter seals, Nevada,
find my link on Twitter, find my link on Facebook, and please, please, please donate to a worthy cause. It's an adult. They got many programs for kids and adults, and they help them do so many things. They are the disabled community, so they reach out to multiple disabled communities. They got veterans. They reach out to so many platforms. So please, 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 please donate.